channel with the psycho story behind it. No. The serious self-inventory every single morning. Those of us who do it, those of us who pry open the garage doors as hard as it is, as heavy as they are, and we get out instead of saying, no, I'd rather go ahead and sleep in. It's too comfortable. I like this comfort. Those of us who choose to grind that blade sharp, not just let it go dull because it's easier. Because we're making decisions to make new decisions. We're deciding today, every single day, to make new, improved decisions that are better than yesterday's. While refusing to be chalked up as the person that we were yesterday. That's a too slow a rate of advancement. Oh, there's lots of similarities. No, there's not. We've decided to make matrix jump leaps of progress that put us where we need to be in a process of serious power incorporation and generation and cultivation is the correct word. Not control freakism, okay? This is not controlling things. This is inspiring, motivating, cultivating as nature programs, right? And as Bill Mollison says in the Permaculture Design Manual, every decision, every action must serve two or more purposes, right? What's up, Bill? We're going to start up the show. Huh? All right, so I don't just want to communicate knowledge, but communicate love and energy and have this Dragon Ball Z thing that I'm throwing at you of goodness, right? Because belief is like living, is like be living, you know? Belief is living the thing, right? You're basically living what's in this image, right? So in the My Study Now playlist, and I will link it below this video as well, will be all this of the videos that I study in my own study for this channel, right? And so the Chris Langlin with IQ 200, he really discusses the identity that is our existence, the identity that is us, and the identity that has been instilled from God, who's running a very, very complex systems process that we are inside of, that this entire earth life training module for your soul thing that we're in. It doesn't really matter what mouth sound exactly you use for it, but this beautiful nature that we are in, you know, it's absolutely amazing. There's so many amazing directions you can go in, you know, and some people have never even, I met guys in Philadelphia that were 60 years old that never left their neighborhoods when I was out there, right? I'm going to jump around here a little bit, but clearness of vision, being able to see this imagery clearly, is not believing any misinformation, is not living any misinformation, and you can very easily not believe too much at all and just remain in a seeking, learning cognition, taking in information and not really attaching too much, not allowing it to control you too much. And observe that it wants to, observe that you want to be at the edge of your seat by the politics, by the lies your mommy told you. You don't know. You don't know. Who you may think is your heroes right now may be your worst enemies. Those who have been called into your life may not have met the mark of achieving their best version, and there's something awful going on in the processes behind the presentation in the processor that's not showing on the display, right? If we looked at everything the processor was doing in some sort of even great display way, we wouldn't want to look at that. We wouldn't know what's going on. We wouldn't be able to interpret that. But this display that is way less than what's going on, but what meets the eye, this is what we can know. So we can already say in this communication here, I know what the display is telling me, but I do not know the complete process behind the display that's going on and existing in some other realm of reality, of existence. And when you look at young people coming into the world and you really make a deep relationship with them, you'll see there's already been a process that has run on this thing way before it came in to this life. Maybe it lived out an animal life. Maybe it went from insect to plant to animal to who knows what the complete process has been, all the way up into the point in where it's in this young human with very pre-life identifiable features, right? So I'm going to talk in this psycho video this morning about the law of polarity. I know it took me a little bit to get there, right? But the world comes in through a law of polarity. Some people have observed the toroidal process, the shape of the apple, toroidal, global, energetic, magnetic field processes. Some people have paid attention to the ecological vibrance of the equator zone and everything near it, and the tropics and water density, and then some of those people have even made such a deep relationship with nature that they can feel more dynamics. They can see, as Muhammad Ali says, they can see into places where some people can't. And this is dynamic. You know, you will see into places some people can't in certain genres or categories of sight, or places of sight, or lines of sight, right? Everything being positive and negatively charged in this existence. And you've heard me before, people who don't make a decision in their character and they just get banged against the rocks left and right, they get messed up. So don't get confused when I start talking about the middle zone where you can see more. Us as human beings, indecision is decision, and you don't want to be a product of indecision. Trust me, we know what happens to those drifter people, as Napoleon Hill says in Outwitting the Devil, which is miles before you watch this video, okay? Book to read. You should be, listen, I'm sorry, but I'm really like a D to E guy, right? And we're not going to be able to cover A, B, C. This video should have fallen into your path as you have walked it for quite a time, if it was divinely fallen in, right? And likely more, time, investment, and incredible intention over lots of time to be in the room right now. To have that snake-like sense and intuition, super decoding, you could say. Let's use just different terms here. Secret decoding and further sight, more thorough decoding of the situation and the dynamics, almost seeing into that process behind the display, right? And so, fear or courage, love or hate, positive, negative charge. As human beings here in the middle, we can be tested by both the dark and the light. And when we decide, hopefully, to go to the light, everyone on this channel, to go to the positive charge, to the light, this has everything to do with carving out the negative pieces, the negative actions, the negative intentions, the negative feelings and thoughts, jealousy being the worst one of our day. As we get rid of those things and we go further to this polar goodness for the human world, life, atmosphere, holodeck training module for your soul, at least, you're going to be stuck within the spectrum of the display. So positive, negative charge, spectrum of display. All right. Well, we're really in this existence anyway, never going to become completely positive. And in the story, analytical reality, likely the way that this has played out in the carnal holodeck training module for your soul, life, atmospheric, earthly sense is with likely the very real being. And I'll put links to this last Good Friday just a few days ago, all right, guys, where this incredible Sean Ryan interview happens. And I guess there was previously ones, but I try to be careful about what I'm watching. That being said, I have slowly but surely and carefully found that Jimmy Dole, Candace Owens, Sean Ryan especially, and Chase Hughes are some folks of our time. They have big audiences. I say, please find smaller people like Beto Skater, like JP Speaks, and send them to me that you really like, that are really truth-telling people, because I'm gonna really start following a few more of those. It's important. I want to go over the people who I follow. And I've followed some stupid people that turned out to be liars later in the past. I was one of the very first ones to figure them out. And I did call them and told them what I had to say right to them. And I have, not named them on videos or anything like this celebrity. If I'm gonna, I did one for my steps of practice where you stand against truth. And I don't just call out one liar, but a couple different ones, right? So that I am a truth teller, not just against one liar, or I'm against all liars. Anyone who's telling lies, not going through these personal inventory steps to make their best version for our best team, I wish you the best, actually. Thank you for the test, actually. Because without a test, none of us have testimony. Whether you realize it or not, we do. That you throw your soul to the fire so that we can get our wings in stage 2. So that it's in the recording from this module. Okay, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Listen, I have some dark pieces on my recording. Hopefully I get to delete them because I'll do such good. I've done such good things too. And you got to know that. See, but it was great being from New Mexico because the Native American culture, it really sunk it in. We had that law of polarity. We had that law of balance kind of thing going on in the land of enchantment where, hey, look, if you got to do something wrong, you better get to doing a lot of things right. And, so there was this idea of karmic balance. Even we didn't have that terminology. I would say we have better terminology, but it's not terminology that you would understand. And so I can't put it in this display. But it's part of the process that's going on. Again, if you looked at it, what is that, right? So you want to start stacking from this point forward your intentions, your spiritual alignment, your precognitions, your pre-energy, your formation, the creative that aligns you with the creator, constructive desires, or what's, and you're going to set up for your desires a direct line of force for achievement. Now, some people have created these desires, direct lines of force, to achieve evil schemes, to achieve negative things, to achieve brainwashing of their own children, to Rex the X, to get the checks, to brainwash the public to support wars with no justification, because we want to get the checks and wreck all our enemies. However, humanity, I want to be a part of a humanity, and I'm deciding to make new decisions. And I just want to be a part of a humanity that can have disagreements, that can feel differently about things, but get along and draw cultural lines of not crossing in which everyone stands by them. You know, we should not, it is 2026 to conflict with bombs and missiles. Oh, by the way, you know, if you're not in execution of excellent mission, you better be packing your shells for it. There's no Netflix. There's no sitting around. I'm happy to report I've been packing shells. I'll mention Snake again. AK, ET, Victor, the guys, Elijah. You know, I'm starting to see, you know, Kevin, boosted minds. Our brothers Patrick and AR on the other side. You know, Bo, the godfather of us all. You know, many don't even know. You know, many don't even know. My dad, the other one, many don't even know. Without those two individuals, I wouldn't be making this video. You know, I wouldn't be on my way to this next chapter that I'm into, right? Well, we're gonna upgrade this whole thing. Practice reps are over. Yes, I did need much more practice reps than most people, and I always have. But somehow I always seem to rise to a performance level, to a conclusive level, somehow I seem to tip the spear in most endeavors, in most journeys, the journey being the destination, right? There is nothing more religious or good than truth telling, all right, following this religious weekend here, you know. The rituals, the routines, those are great. Absolutely, we should do them. They're important installations of focus, prayer, community, and community character of the overall community. And, you know, others, you know, I want to give, definitely, I just did, you know, my good respect to the other godfathers in psyop unpacking, in behavior pattern recognition. You know, I want to tell the young guns out there, you know, it's like anything good you can say may stick. You know what, bro? Even if you have to pull somebody aside because the culture's so sick, and say, hey, look, you know what? I heard that conversation. Those guys ain't ready to hear this, bro. You know, between you and me, if you have the confidence level, then you are ready to hear this. Do you? Okay. Look, man, here's the truth of it. We have a soul. It's real. Don't cry. I did that. I don't know how many times coming up as a young person. You know what I mean? Hey, look, you know, I figured out solutions. You won't believe the James Bond stuff I had to do to save lives. All right. Back then, when people actually probably deserved to lose them, but grace, this thing of grace, you know, it's like it took another thing. It took me way longer to get to than it should have. Is letting go and forgiveness for this horrible child abuse. They should have died too. Those people all should have, you know, in the jungle, they would have died. They know what they did. They know what they were part of. You know, the master processes behind all the flying monkeys. You know, be careful who you sign up to. Especially when you don't know what that process is. Because if it's deceptive, look, you're a part of it. You're a punk who was a part of it. You're not going to get respect from above. You didn't do the diligence and the responsibility, no matter how hard it is, to not be associated with that thing. You allowed them to pull you down. And it may be written all over you. And everyone around you can see it, but you can't. And if that's the situation, holy smokes. Right? You know? And as Muhammad Ali says in my Study Now playlist, and the links below as well, some people can see more. Also, I will put the truth poem. No matter what, tell the truth and do the right thing. If you were too scared, if you lacked the character, if your pride was too boosted up, if you were too weaponized by lies to do the right thing, that's what this test is. Everybody's like, why are these evil people? This is so crazy. They are running a play. They are, I saw this, and I'll put the link below to this. On the Diary of a CEO, he asked him, why does God let these evil demons roll? I got a better answer than that crazy historian who's checked a few people. I appreciate his work. I love it. I'll put the link below. This is why. They are running a play constantly, a pre-written playbook. Because as their evil increases and all the tools below them, the little narcs and rats and tattletales and shitty people, princes and princesses of deception that copy their operational modality all the way down, which it all functions like a chain. These people at the top, they don't exist without all these little lambs that took the carrot to wreck the eggs to get the checks. They picked up the rifle, myself included, because we believed the lies. We lived them to a certain degree, the lies, and we were weaponized by these lies, and we went and we didn't do the right thing. We were a part of the problem. When I served in the military, I'm very proud that I was a firefighter, and I was a lifesaver, not a life taker, right? That's my base rate. I was a firefighter. I was many other things during that time, but I watch this guy Nick Irving, who I love and respect, and I read a lot, and older guys like him, and they're like, "Fuck no, I wish I didn't kill all those people for these liars. What the hell? Why would you join the military now?" To quote him exactly. Don't join the military. Don't go kill people. Would I let my son take a life? Hell no. Right? Okay, so we know we're going to pay attention to our honorable seniors who speak the truth, who have more experience than we do. If you can deflate your balloon that the devil gassed up, or one of his tools, one of his princes of deception, is the chain of fools. All right, this is why. As soon as you start talking things, it doesn't matter if you're regurgitating them. You didn't do your homework. You're a stupid fool that was able to regurgitate this thing, and it's just a win-lose. You don't need to engage in any win-lose. You don't need to open a liquor store, a casino, or an OnlyFans account. All right? As I covered in my last live, Rip just said to Tucker Carlson, sexual exploitation. If they can get you to exploit your temple, exploit your love emotion, exploit your holy reproductive situation, if they can get you to tempt several men out of marriage and out of this and that and the other thing, they know they're doing. This is a fucking excellent spiral of doom, right? No, we need to be part of an upward spiral creation of excellence, honor, strength. Not weakness. All this stuff is a product of weakness. It's a fault of character. The devil himself knows his best version was and always will be never back where he was. But once you do the crime, you have to do the time. Whether it's in this life or the next life, this is a just God that created this entire display. All right, holodeck training module for your soul. And what we're facing as minds, souls, spirits is the slave game, ladies and gentlemen. It is the slave game. We know the story. Satan wants to enslave you. God wants you to be free. But he wants you to build the freaking strength and the character to get there. He gives you a story that you have to take by faith. A carpenter, a humble man, a feet washing but it's beautiful and it's effective and it permeates everything. And the truth tellers like Candace Owens are hard gripped on them, and the fucking obvious liar people, TPSU, Blake Neff calls Candace Owens a demonic predator, like a nutcase with a knife on the bus. Funny comment below is, well, if a knife wielding nutcase on a train was asking for a video you said you had, just give him the video. Funny comment, right? Yeah. It's like, call him a demonic predator because anyone going after the truth, this is a play you can use, okay? If you start doing something way over here good on the spectrum, these people will start getting shaken by it. If you start calling out, if you call them out, oh, forget it, right? They will be your predator. Everything that they say about the angelic personality is actually true about them. Remember that. And they copy another angelic personality so that you can't figure out what they're doing. They're not gonna come up and tell you, hey, yeah, I'm the orchestrator. You know, I've invented hundreds of lies in this situation. I've used you. I've used everybody. I've lied to everyone around me. I'm a fucking evil schemer like you've never seen. You know what I mean? And I put all these truths on some very valiant person to seriously confuse you. And if I do it over years and years and years, your wires are now crossed. You're now primed to listen to every witch and warlock and fall in every pitfall and trust every not trustworthy person and distrust every trustworthy person, missing all your opportunities. And you're just this dumb, entitled genius NPD or NPC doing the same thing over and over and over and over, getting the same stupid, shitty result. A gerbil and a wheel, man. Right where they want you, in the chin, right? Doing some heinously pointless shit that adds up into their benefit and costs you your whole freaking life and all your time and emotion and care, when you should have been building some creative science, art, discovery, exploration, you know what I mean, and really been something with yourself, you know. But instead you're recounting for someone that did something with their self, and you don't even know them. You just know the 50 other flying monkey tool wrench people below them that also did not meet their best mark, you know. So yeah, this your intentions are everything, guys. Your intentions are everything. Repentance is real. Choose to make new choices. Choose to make new choices. Choose to create yourself free from the influences that created yourself. Choose to create a new self. Choose to upgrade, take the matrix jump, not be defined by yesterday when there's such clear, incredible progress for tomorrow. Don't deny yourself. Polar progression, loyalty to, you can still be loyalty to these people. You just have to be strong enough to break the trauma bond and get away and get out on your own. Trauma bond is another word for comfort zone, is another word for yesterday, is another word for constraint, limitation, lack of progress, procrastination, you know. Follow that call that is inside. You meet that call with action, you're a Jedi. That's all it is. Genius is simply the distance being closed on the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Bring those two together, and as that subconscious, which knows everything that's going on, which is really receiving that word of God from above, especially if you're clean and you're eating the nutritionaldiversity.com diet concept and you're purifying your water, you're getting good water source, water diversity of carbon activated filter water, so right, boom. You're doing your study, you're doing your mandatory things, you're doing your PFE, your burpees. All right? I'll continue to show it, man. Each one of these, the PFE, every time you see that bathroom door, before you go through it, feet shoulder width apart, pick your 6 behind you and just 6, 6, 6. Right? And you want to do this for 2 minutes. That's every time you go to the bathroom, first thing when you wake up and you drink your 16 ounces of water. All right. We're not just going to be not sick. We're going to be extremely healthy. We're going to be extremely capable. We're going to be ready for whatever, whenever, you know. We're going to be warriors in the garden, not gardeners in the war. And we are in a war. And we do need to cultivate a warrior inside. And it needs to be serious. You need to care enough. It needs to be charged. It can't be this nonchalant, glib bullshit that you see on everybody's face. That's not cool. What is that? Why are you doing that? You need to be more like us. No. If you ever meet, if there's a person, if you're doing that, carve that shit out of you. You want a monoculture of everybody? Are you another chump that thinks they know everything, that knows better than God and nature and actually causes tons and tons of harm? You know what I mean? Because, and listen, the next step after this is you're inventing things. You're a master deceiver. You're now you're deceiving little children. I mean, we've all seen the statue. Satan's after the little kids, ain't he? But if he can get you to devour your own children, and we're seeing that on the Sean Ryan podcast as well, where he's got the map and all those IP connections. I mean, it's undeniable. We are human demons, demon possession, demons everywhere. I said in the last episode, I had an ex-girlfriend that was demon possessed. Did she want to be? I promise she didn't, especially looking at the results. I promise she didn't. Was she playing around with it, acting cool, acting glib? Yep. Being hard, with the pride, not being genuine, not making connections, but trying to show people what time it is. Trying to show people what time it is that are fucking 50 light years ahead of them. You know what I mean? That they should be learning from, but they can't. That's it right there. That's the square peg in the round hole disease. You know, that's why society doesn't advance. That's how they keep the slaves in the slave spectrum of things and control them, these control freaks. And the way out is becoming a cultivator. The way out of contamination is becoming a purifier of yourself first, and then you can, right? And the way out, and you can get so far in dynamic. I have so much further to go myself, but man, am I far further ahead of most people. And honestly, it's just like after a minute, you know, and given the reality that there is so much to learn and there's so much to study, and once you get the routine down of being a solo cholo, G'd up from the feet up, I'm just playing. Once you get the routine in, it's easy. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, if you can live a life where you're spending 80% of your time on your own, that's an optimal percentage too. You know, you want to get, you're going to need to do it like that to really focus on the training, the diet, the inputs as much as you need to have those, you know, 30-06 outputs, man, to have those 50 caliber outputs. So just, you know, strategically taking real big goals back to the ninja mode, back to the training, you know what I mean? Because this Jedi, and that's how it is. If you have it like that, then when you pull up to the target, that's what you'll be doing. And all right, guys. So understand the law of polarity. Understand that, as Chris Langland says, you're going to need to be way over here whenever that crossover comes, and we don't know when you cross, but it will be a sum of all the little crossovers in your path. So do the right thing and tell the truth. Marcus Aurelius says, however you want to put it. You know what it is. You just don't apply what you know. You deny what you know. Your conscious deceives itself. It's not aligned. It knows better. Your conscious knows better than your subconscious, and you're actually blocking your own genius. All right, kiddos. Okay, and when you get around the Jedi, there's not many of them. If you get around a Jedi and you from his eyeballs, okay, or miles and miles away, a young Padawan, and you are disrespectful, you're not a young Padawan. You're a fucking piece of street trash, because young Padawan knows to have a sufficient amount of respect for that Jedi, and that's why he gets trained. It's unfortunate that he falls later, and that does happen, and you have to be able to let go. But look what happens at the moment of death. Look, they all get the deathbed shit, and then, I am completely convinced that there's a freaking torturous hell waiting for these people who sign up to witches and deny valiant identities, because this is all an assimilation of identity in the end. Watch the Chris Langan video below. Who the biggest name in the game for those of us who have had diverse adversity and some experience in life, and just so happen to not walk around like we know everything, but be very passionate to meet other people who know enough to engage in healthy study, right? Everything out in nature teaches you. You're not going to know everything in nature. Cocky biologists are a funny thing to me. There's a lot of them that come out of the sterile white press shirt classroom, can't walk to the top of the hill, talk down to me because they got some piece of paper from that, when I've been spending 15 years in this. Well, my whole life, actually. From desert to jungle. I'm actually from the high desert mountains of the watermelon. Okay. Yeah, just pray. Just pray. I was like, is that the message? So sometimes you gotta double check. Is it prayer time? It's always prayer time, right? If we just stay out here in nature in prayer, wow, you will be surprised at what kinds of ideas may come into your mind, into your identity, into your display or non-display. Okay, no more jokes, very serious. Okay, if you care enough, you can become a Jedi. If you don't care enough, okay. Dear Lord, we pray in the name of Jesus Christ that you look out for everybody, that those of us who take the time, the intentions, the churning process to get clarity, the caring process to care enough to cultivate that care and to grow that intense spirit that is able to heal, to follow you, Jesus, and to display the identity, the example that you have given us to the best of our ability, to forgive and let go, and to thank those who have not made their own best version marks, even to pray for them as we have been instructed to do so in your excellent holy text. Thank you for everything. Thank you. We love you. And today is an excellent opportunity to continue to communicate that through our loudest language ever, and that is of action. Thanks, guys, for even having the care enough and the intention to want to get mentally tough, spiritually tough, metaphysically tough, and compatible with the angelic movement forward, the angelic growth and cultivation that we can all become very, very strong, honorable, integral parts of. We have this grand opportunity to do so, and I really pray that you take it. All right, so let's just stay tough, do all the things, check all the boxes, have that cycle and routine and output based on correct input that just smokes everybody around and gets you in with the other Jedis. It takes one to know one. You see to really believe, and then still we're not believing, we're seeking, but we're seeing. Who will